Heyo, and welcome to the stream. It's Hunter Murray here with Brescia FC and Football Manager 2022. We're still in FM22, even though the beta is out for FM23, but we are going to continue year 11 with Brescia. Not necessarily in a hurry to end this series, and I'm more looking forward to when the game is kind of fully released. Don't want to lose progress on a beta save or feel like a separate beta save type thing, So still gonna probably get the game at launch. It might come out, we might start switching in a couple weeks later, but for the moment we're staying in FM22 and staying with Brescia as we look to continue our success. Now, we had a slightly tough start to the season, not getting the win. Not getting the win against Lazio, though we looked to be the better team, but then we did beat Inter away, but it was somewhat definitely thanks to Lautaro Martinez sending off in the 13th minute. So we have yet to really be a dominant team to start this season. A lot of Serie A matches upcoming. And we also will kick off the Champions League group stages today. I saw a small recap simulated through international break. Got the new gen faces in and everything, but we're essentially ready to roll with the rest of the season. And right into Torino at home. How many midfielders do you need? You had all the attackers forever, and now they're like, we'll just buy every midfielder. We'll buy every midfielder in the game. Jesus, dude. Yeah, and we got games kind of coming fast, so I think we will look to rotate here a little bit as we get the season started. Slight international break recap. Jesus Christ. Maximiliano Cabrera scored a couple of times. Vegard Stromberg had a brace in a game. So it seems like our two strikers did pretty well. And Anthony Madu had at least one incredible game, and I'm pretty sure he scored in the other one. So he had a very nice international break. Well, I can see there. I do kind of wish that if they were on your, not interested board, they would either A, not scout that person ever again, even if you requested it, be like, hey, or at least, have a warning where it's like, hey, this guy, so-and-so is on your unwanted board. Do you want to take him off and scout him? And I think the other thing that could be interesting is just, making their name a different color. How you have your loan outs, your loan ins, and everything. Make them a different color name. And then I could easily be like, oh, I accidentally re-scouted a guy. Torino did play pretty well last year. Everybody's feeling it a little bit. Mino and Satriano can be on the bench, but they're probably not getting in here. We've got a pretty tight turnaround for Dynamo Kyiv, so I think Galbraith will play. Denis. And then Abdulev. Barcelo and Malacia not doing so good. Oh, yeah, and we have Arestis. That's a good question. That's a good point. Good point. Yeah, I think we'll save Arestis for Champions League. Play Denis now. Also, Cesarano, compare with Denis. Denis is a much better attacker. Physically, Serrano's a little more gifted, but yeah, like attacking, vision, technical side of the game, Denis is better. So he is probably a little bit better suited for our wide center back spot. But I do think there's just something a little bit more intriguing about Cesarano. Barclay and Birkenbaum. Oh, Birkenbaum's fresh. So we'll give Barclay a little bit of a sit. That is the intriguing question of like kind of how much do we play Patrick Nordberg instead of Malacia? At least, you know what? I think we'll give it. Yeah, he's still not trained there enough yet, actually. So we'll go Barcelo. Although Barcelo in the Champions League is probably more important. So Malacia. I'm going to flip Raska. He's not quite there yet, but we got to start getting the rest of the guys going. So we'll go Jan Valeda. And then Danny Olmo. And then Stromberg. And Cabrera. Yeah. I don't think that's our best team, but hopefully we can get back to it pretty quickly. I'm going to press the wide players like I like to do. When it's only a couple of guys, we'll hard tackle where possible, and we'll show on to the weaker foot. And I'll try to pay attention if these guys are getting a little bit wide, if we need to press them. But in general. Won the last 5 matches against Torino. I think it can provide a little bit of an advantage. We want to be confident. Yeah, we've confidence, and we need to keep going. They just crushed Venice. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about what they're doing on the other side. We're here to be better than they are. I did also say we got off to a bit of a rough start, but we did win, though it did take extra time. In the Super Cup against Liverpool. So we are winning games, but it's also kind of like, oh, Milan started with a 9-goal differential, you know, so already you know, drawing a game puts us on the back foot against Milan. Instead of being the leaders, we are chasing already, and it's a tough spot to be in. You know, when we were in the lead a lot last season, anyway, right? Oh, and I still don't think I've reset. Galbraith puts it home. But was there a man offside? It wouldn't have been Galbraith, but could the guy by the keeper have been offside? He was not. Goal is awarded. And a good start for Brescia. 1 corner, 1 goal. Danny Olmo, Valeda finds Cabrera, who taps it to Stromberg, but couldn't quite lead him. But there was an offside in that build-up. Galbraith, early goal, early card. Oh, we did not need to do that. But well defended. Karnaseki with a big clearance. Stromberg. Back to Olmo, who looks to send it up to Cabrera. Who's going to kind of run out of space. And pull it back. Looking for Olmo. And a chance there. Kind of out of nothing, really. Honestly, if that pass is maybe on the ground and just lets Olmo step into it a little bit more. Lee Young-koo, well blocked. Getting back in it was Galbraith. Stromberg can't keep that one in. And a little bit wild, definitely, to start today's game. Seemingly. Denis offside. Looking for Cabrera. Not going to quite get there, I don't think. Oh. Raska. Cabrera. Chance out of nothing again. Was onside, apparently. Raska. Touched into space. Stromberg, he has a go. Scrambling across in a corner for Brescia to keep the pressure on. Birkenbaum with pace. Gets tripped up. Give him another one. Another yellow. Raska, Galbraith, Cabrera. Did he stay on after Galbraith's touch? Oh, he had to have been. Had to have been on. I think the only question would be, did Abdulev stray? I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I guess he could have been offside there. It wouldn't have been much of an advantage, although I guess it could be. Like, people forget about you if you start offside on the hit. Raska, Cabrera, good touch. needs the tidy finish. Tough day for Birkenbaum. Also, quiet day for Valeda, but really his first came back in multiple seasons in the fold. So... Stromberg over. Abdulov with the block, but the pressure will stay on. Oh, and a huge save from Karnaseki to get fingers on it. Pressure stays. Torino looking to capitalize. Another opportunity here. That's not good. Ooh. Nice counter. Runs out of space, though. Brings it back in a blast over the bar. Oh, and off the post for Galbraith. So Birkenbaum will get him out of here. Everybody's in that position is okay. Maybe we'll just play Nordberg, get a guy to finish it off. Same here. We'll go Cueva. In his new deep line playmaker role and see what he's feeling. Galbraith out to Nordberg. Raska looking for Cabrera. Oof. Nearly perfect ball, but the defender also played well there. Yeah, they're nicely read by Galbraith. So we'll do a little something like that. We'll take our time. Abdulev with a blast, picking it up and rocketing it home. And 2 goals for the center backs off of corners. Nicely won by Denis Olmo. Cabrera plays Stromberg in perfectly. He goes for the chip. Oh boy. Oh boy. That should be a finish 10 out of 10 times. Malacia. Cabrera looking for Stromberg again. This one's not as good. A big clearance that Galbraith able to sweep up. Stromberg, and he looks to head it along to Cabrera, but can't get enough power on it. The ball just going back and forth. Barclay looking. Olmo, who has a blast. And Brescia will take the corner and take their time. There's at least somebody back there. Elsewhere, Juventus doing their job, winning 2-0 at the moment. Pretty dominant game. Deserving victory. Andy Galbraith. With a big one. Peter Raska played well. And he's in his new role in the box-to-box. How important was Andy Galbraith's early goal? I mean, it's an important moment we're able to settle into the game. And Milan behind a Rafael Leao hat trick. I'd probably swap him for Bastoni, though, if you wanted a swap. But I don't mind him just, like, praising our players for particularly good performances like that. I haven't seen anything too wrong. I mean, maybe there's stuff happening in the background where he's making people mad, but... well structured, generally, for... but just couldn't really get much offense for Torino. Oh. I do like the recovery, the match review, the team bond. I want all of that to happen. I wish I could, like... that's one thing about, like, the rest day. It's like, hey, for everybody who started the game, like, you don't have to show up for the defensive shape training. Sure, why not? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to show up. Just come on the trip. Yeah, not interested. Not interested. Elsewhere in Serie A, Cagliari win, Sampdoria win, Frosinone win, Napoli behind a couple of 70th minute goals get the victory, and Inter beat Roma. I think I should have played chance conversion that, and then just make sure that there's a match review on that one. Well, actually, I probably should have reset that. It looked like there was some weirdness going on. Because of the rest, they'll recommend that like full on substitution. Consafil scored twice. Do they have him playing like actual winger? That's interesting. And Bartoli scores. Not too concerned about Bartoli. Yeah, I need to reset that. Sure, you can stop. Yeah, have you doing extra work on pace and acceleration? I mean, as long as they're not saying that bottom thing. I mean, his passing's probably never gonna be amazing, but I don't know. I will say, like, fringe player. I think he'll get more than that, but... yeah, just in case. We'll quick pick. So Olmo, Madu can get either side. I think Raska could also get either side because he subs for Madu well. And then Nordberg. This is kind of Madu Raska on the right side. Okay. I mean, I think with our current setup, I think there should always be like Madu or Raska. I mean, I guess the other thing I could do is like Danny Olmo. Could take the other stuff. Throw-ins should actually probably be the same, but also Nordberg. Berkeley, Birkenbaum, Cueva, and Nordberg. Yes, it could get tricky if, for some reason, like Florentini is in on this side. Or like Orestes. So I guess we'll do that. Like Nordberg, Oh, but then like if they're playing defense, that's probably more frequent. So we'll do something like that. Honestly, yeah, Cabrera. So Cabrera behind Madu, but almost like Mino. Because he can take like either footed. Well, I think Mino's already there on deep. And he's there on the other ones. I guess because it's a slightly more attacking role, but it's weird to me that also why they did put Danny Olmo. Maybe they consider him more central midfield still. I don't know. Interesting. Oh, and defensive corners. Because both Madu and Raska are short. So it may be interesting. And not that our attacking midfield's much better, but maybe pulling like a striker down into the box instead could work. Really? I don't know. Keep an eye. It's like the third time we've tried that. I hope he gets it. Hellas Verona beat Benevento. And our first game in the Champions League group stages, since we won last year, we got the first seeded draw, and we feel pretty confident about our group. You can see it there. Dortmund are probably our biggest competitors. But we're hoping to put ourselves in a good spot for members of Brescia in your Serie A team of the week. Missed somebody there. Satriano nearly back. So Galbraith is pretty tired. We're definitely going to see Danilo Pekovic. The question is he in the middle? Or is he out there? Denis looking fine, but we'll go to Orestes and Barcelo. Birkenbaum is still fresh, so we'll push him a little bit here, I think, as we rest Barclay a touch longer. And then that will definitely be Anthony Madu. Voleda can go, but I think so can Cueva. He is a little fatigued. But so we'll go back to Jan Voleda, trying to get him reintegrated. Danny Olmo is still fresh. And then we'll go Stromberg, Cabrera. We'll get Martin Satriano back out there. So, how are we setting up here? Well, Stromberg is definitely in. Cueva's definitely flexible. Raska. Galbraith. And then we go Nordberg to have like an extra body for midfield stuff, and Barclay, I think. So Barclay is more like specifically for the right. Malacia, we're maybe slowly going to fade him out and look to give Nordberg maybe more chances there so he can sub for Barcelo. Could also sub in the midfield if necessary. Mino kind of seems like the one guy that's maybe a question mark. But we might rotate, like, maybe Mino over Jan Voleda in terms of, like, flexibility or something. But yeah, we definitely need to rest one of our strikers a little bit here. Yeah, I want us to get off to a strong start, so I'm going to give us a little I have faith. Hopeful for a performance today. If we play to the levels we know we're capable of, we'll be fine. It's very important to start with a win. I certainly hope. It gives me every reason to. So, Dynamo Kyiv, the Ukrainian squad. They seem to be off to a pretty good start in their league in all the games they've played so far. So is Brescia, as we look to... They are fourth. We are first. We look to establish ourselves here. This is the away leg, though, too. And so I think that also means a lot. We want 3 points here as much as we can. We welcome back Martin Satriano. I didn't actually like. Yeah, we're fired up enough already. I'll press their width, and we should try to pay attention to what their midfield seems to be playing, and if they're getting some additional width. 2 shots, 0.01 XG. Tough start. Olmo in space, but he can't quite finish it off. And now a little bit of pressure being sustained by Brescia. Bergamon wins it. Madu looking for Cabrera. Kyiv passing it along the back line. Barcelo couldn't pick it off. And now the man goes by him. Dolberg with a brilliant first touch, and he tries to catch Carnesecchi napping. But it's over the bar. Barcelo. Nice touch. Satriano on the backside. Trubin. Olmo. Blocked. Abdulov jumps forward. Back to Pekovic. Olmo. Cabrera. And now he 1-2. And Olmo with a terrible, terrible attempt. That should be a goal. Brilliant play, fantastic movement. One of the best sequences I think we've seen from Olmo with his time here, and then he still did so poorly at the finish. Barcelo looks for Satriano, who heads it towards Trubin, and relatively easily caught. Satriano, welcome back. Off the corner and rewarded for our dominance in the first half. Oh yeah, I guess Olmo's taking some of these. So I probably do need to like retake a look at all my corner routines and stuff. Yeah, we're shooting. We're putting the pressure on. Orestes to Barcelo. Cabrera. Orestes will go into space for Barcelo. Looks to cross it to Satriano. Relatively easy catch yet again. Olmo looks for Birkenbaum, cuts it back to Madu, plays into Satriano, over to Barcelo, who taps it along, and then Cabrera jumps on the rebound. Trubin really should have picked up the ball. But was Cabrera offside? He was not. Snatched away there for Maximiliano. And he just tucks it right in that near post. Holland going crazy. Cabrera's found space. Oh, he plays it to Satriano, who blasts it home. I thought he was just going to have a go, but very good decision. I mean, assuming Satriano's onside, but I think he was just on. And you like seeing that, this striker pair linking up. Satriano wanted his hat trick, seeing what Erling Haaland is doing against Hoffenheim. I doubt that would actually be like on a screen anywhere. It's Karnaseki's ball, I guess. But he goes for the giant clearance. But kind of to nobody. I don't like anything that happened there. Mikolenko. Ooh, close on the cutback. Up 3. I'm just gonna take the counter press on. And drop it to like a standard. Take some of the intensity out of it. We've done our job, and if we can snag one more or something, I think we can do that, just kind of playing this way. Abdulev gets back. Finds Jan Valeda. He's looking for space. Danilo Pekovic with a blast. Danilo. Doesn't he have, like, refrains from taking long shots or something? Dude just had too much space. And that's how you kind of know everything's going right, when your center back scores a goal like that. A looping shot, but well over the bar. And that's exactly what Brescia wants you to do, is take those long shots. In the other side, Pavel Hruska will put Dortmund on top, 1-0. Birkenbaum in space. He wanted his chance. Honestly, I think he could have taken a touch. Maybe had a better... Would have been a tougher angle, probably, though. So... I don't know. Cabrera, oh. Looked like he was just trying to chip it a little bit. to give Satriano a chance, but maybe waited just a touch too long to make that pass. Satriano looks for Cabrera now, who holds it up. Satriano, a chance for his third, just wide. This is where I'd really like the time wasting to like come in for subs. I'd just make like trickle in a few substitutions here. And we do just trickle in the subs. That's the thing I could have done when I pulled off there. Ooh, Barclay had to make a stop. Apologies for that. Making sure nothing weird happened. Ooh. Goldberg brings it down. Oh, not quite the right timing there. It could have been. And well blocked there by Abdullah. The kind of balls that he can stop all day. And honestly, in his first game back, Martin Satriano, your player of the your player of the match, it seems like. Not quite the link up there. Satriano definitely maybe starting to feel a little fatigue, though. On the other side, Julius Mogensen, the ex-Brescia man, putting Dortmund up 3-0 after 2 goals after the 88th minute and 1 in extra time, or added time. Really impressive victory. Haven't decided that yet. How important was it your team to score just before half? It was a crucial moment and turned the game in our favor. Yeah, and that was a goal out of the very top drawer for Danilo Pekovic. That's one that might be one of the top goals of the entire Champions League. And welcome back, Satriano. See, I wish she would follow my thing. I mean, I don't know. We do a pretty light day afterwards anyway, but... especially with the matches the way they are. I was probably gonna give them one regardless here, but I'm gonna let them do the recovery match review. In the other side, Benfica, Rangers, Man United, ascending off for Ajax. But Gladbach did all their scoring before that. Milan only score one, but they do enough to stay on track. Liverpool, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid gets the win over Udinese. We actually probably don't need the day off, but I'll give it. How but how like physically better has he been? Because I think a lot of this is just coming off of him playing pretty well in general, and I think like his star rating just going up. Like how much has he actually progressed attributes wise since coming to the squad? So everything's up a little bit. So he is also getting a little bit better on top of that. That was kind of my question of like how are things going? Wow, he's getting even better jumping reach. Slight increase in tackling. Good, good. So funny. He did turn into an elite midfielder. I mean, he's pretty good. Like for like a ball winning midfielder, man. I think you'd maybe want a little bit more aggression. But I think that's probably the only thing he's missing. Like honestly, and maybe even like, yeah, I don't know. I just think ball winner, you kind of want that aggression in them a little bit. So it's almost like, but he's not a good enough passer to play like a deep lying playmaker. He is an odd player. I'm not like regretting our decision by any means. Get our goalkeepers some games. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get Adebayo games this year, unfortunately. What? Huh? What? 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 According to Sports Bio, Football Club Barcelona have produced the most players currently earning a living playing across the elite divisions of the world. Oh, I guess because we've brought so many players in early. I was like, how are we up here? But yeah, if you consider Mohamed Yenner, Islam Abdullaev, Cabrera, like most of these guys are guys we've brought into the club. A few guys there though. Cozy, Prioetti, Monty, Grecci, Cardella, Buencumpiani, Martinarini, Marchesni, Totone, Irati, Siopusky, Pasquarello, Coco, Negro. Yeah, that's our group of what's it called? Youth intake guys, academy guys. That's the word I was looking for. Oh, so wing back. Then I want Danny Olmo short. Then yes, but then you there. And then we bring Satriano, Abdulev, and then we sit you back to just like lurking outside the area. And then just a general go forward to somebody there. And then we put it into the near post. Then the left, this will be Danny Olmo, so we need to reset to default a little bit. So that'll lurk outside the edge of the area. Something like that. Something like that. And then if like they're switching their roles, then we just get kind of an extra guy back. But then maybe I can like check that out. Oh, and then this should be near post. Corners, defend. So I want to switch the roles because generally Cabrera will be on the left and then it'll be Satriano. And then we'll bring him in. And we'll just get another body that kind of can jump. But our midfield, we're definitely smaller this year. But I think that's generally just going to be our more, or better. Same, we'll just switch. Well, even somebody else might be generally taller than our... Yeah, we got a short wall. I don't know, do you usually just like make a bigger wall? Like, I feel like in this one, direct wise, you almost do just want the bigger wall. I'm wondering about just like maybe we keep our central guy back there or something, but maybe the wingbacks in the back line and get a little bit more height in the wall. I don't know if that's like a good idea or not. And the other ones, I think just being that is fine. Okay. Mostly concerned about the corners. And then Cagliari. We'll probably do some rotating just because probably mostly looking at fatigue here. And Maximiliano Cabrera down. That's a shame. And we will be thin. It's one thing, our strikers stayed healthy all of last season. We've already had 2 striker injuries this year. We moved Mohamed Yenner. Yeah, and it probably will be that. It'll be a little mismatch. Danny Olmo might get to play, might have to play some. Jan Valeda might have to play some. We might play this aggressive. And then maybe be a little bit more reactionary for Udinese and then SPAL. Let me feel this out a little bit. Because Galbraith is fresh and Abdulev and Pekovic are not. So we could do that. And Pekovic sits again. Bergenbaum's fresh. Barclay still has a little fatigue, so we'll see that. Barcelo's fresh and still trying to gain a little bit of fitness. Oscar Cueva's fresh, and generally I want him to play where possible. Both Madu and Raska are there, so we'll stick with Madu here. I do think it's maybe time to get Nuhel Mino back in to the fold a little bit. And then it has to be Satriano Stromberg. And potentially we'll see Danny Olmo make a substitution. So, substitutions-wise, that's one. Barcelo, I'm considering my starter. 2. And 3, because I do kind of consider Cabrera the starter. Okay. We'll probably have to be a little bit more aggressive. We'll probably have to rest more against Udinese, but want to continue momentum. Yeah, again, it's only a couple of players. We'll try to keep an eye if things get out of hand. We'll definitely press the wing if they get out there. And then Bonamelli, I think he should be crossing. And Fernandez should generally be crossing. Yeah. Maybe. No match is easy, but we got a strong squad. I'm confident in. We're unbeaten in 16 matches. Yeah, we definitely want to keep that edge. We're stronger for having him, and he solves so many problems. So we're still getting the guys familiar with their new roles, dropping a couple of guys that were more offensive for us in previous seasons. Valeta and Cueva back into the more central midfield role. And Cueva I think he'll get his first start as a deep-lying playmaker here. I think he did play there a little bit last year, but since he's really been training and that becoming his new role, this will be the first one. Nuhel Mino also getting his first start back in a Brescia uniform, was on loan last year. Centriano. Stromberg doesn't make the run. Mino. There's Stromberg, and he takes an early shot that caroms off for a corner. Anthony Madu likely to take this one. Yeah. And Tofal Montiel, also an ex-Brescia man. Still getting it done in Serie A. Frozzone taking the early lead over Udinese. Orestes heads it clear. Nice shot from Bonamelli. Carnesecchi has to parry it out, and a corner for Cagliari. Nandez. Abdullah heads it clear, but only as far as Zessinger. Cagliari continued to just hold the ball. They try an early one. Birkenbaum, though, like, read it before even Bonamelli realized that they were, like, trying to play him in. Stromberg. Cueva. And he searches for Satriano. A good first touch, opens himself up. But not perfect. The defense gets there. A bad turnover. Madu brought down in the box. Rodriguez should see a card. And it will be a penalty at the spot. Martin Satriano should be the taker. Maybe should check that, but yeah, it does look like Satriano's going to grab the ball. No double jeopardy, but will be a yellow for Rodriguez. I don't think it was like a clear goal scoring opportunity, but could have been. And Satriano puts it home. He's so good at penalties. Stromberg. Not a bad little cross, but easy save at the end of the day for Cragno, who looks to go long. Tofal Montiel can't beat out Orestes in the air. Madu picks up the second ball. Birkenbaum blasts it forward to Satriano. No real help in the middle, and he pulls it back to Madu. Mino will take a shot that's blocked, and a corner for Brescia. Napoli gets a man sent off. So some potential like upsetty stuff going on in the other matches at this moment. Abdullah steps up decisively for that. Mino. Now Cueva, who's played some nice long balls. Barcelo low. Satriano somehow saved. Should have been goal number 2 for him today. And a clearance. Galbraith. Abdullah turns for Birkenbaum, who looks to go wide. Madu. Not quite right, Valencia. Nice first touch, pulling himself into space. And holds it up for his squad to reset after sustaining the pressure. Probably should have been a goal for Brescia at some point in that attack, but did not happen. Mino, though, as Brescia looked to start applying that pressure again. Birkenbaum cuts inside. And a corner. Don't see that too often from the wingbacks. Livramento. Montiel. Can't really control it. Looks to chip over Carnesecchi, but not enough room behind him. I'm going to do Cueva. I'm liking that, though, from Cueva. Some long bombs forward. Satriano. Looks for Barcelo. The ball just rolled, urging him to shoot, but it really nowhere close. Orestes, Cueva. Migno. Stromberg. 1-on-1 and another save. Brescia should have 3. They have 1. Miscommunication between Cueva and Barcelo. New roles, new understandings, what they're trying to do. I think Cueva's still kind of feeling out exactly what he's trying to do as the deep-lying playmaker in some of these sustained offensive attacks. Migno trying to find Stromberg a little too much. Cueva flips it out to Barcelo, who looks in. Can't find it. Birkenbaum picks it up. Now, Satriano off the bar. Opportunity. It's been knocking for Brescia. They will come away with the lead at half, but they almost have to feel disappointed that they didn't score on a couple of other good chances. And I think I will agree with that. Just capable of even more. We're playing well. We could play even better. Barcelo gets it back. Striding forward. Stromberg. What a nice first touch. Satriano. A better finish there, and that's number 4 for Brescia, you know. We're letting Cagliari hang around. If they can maybe squeeze one out of a set piece, and they nearly do, Carnesecchi makes a big save. Stromberg. Cueva. Barcelo, who looks to go wide. Into Stromberg. Back to Barcelo, who looks for Satriano, who was unmarked. But didn't quite work. Oh, and another blast, this time from Migno. And Cagliari can't get to the free ball before it heads out for a corner. But that, again, kind of right at the keeper. A little unfortunate for Brescia. Well picked up by Satriano. Oh, send him. Stromberg. And And it's wide. And it's wide. Put another one in the back of the net, boys, please. Cueva flips it back out to Birkenbaum. Looks for a little bit of space, cuts it back to Madu. Galbraith. Cueva. Abdullah flips it to Birkenbaum. Madu. Birkenbaum. Stromberg. Cragno. And Stromberg did stray offside before that ball came in. I honestly don't know who makes a difference here. It's a little weird, but we're going to go to Danilo Pekovic. I don't usually do that. We'll go Danny Olmo. And we'll see. Nicely cut out by Barcelo. Shows too much of it, though, to Livramento. But Madu able to cut it out. Barcelo again. Cueva. Cueva can whip one. Satriano, but he heads it over. Couldn't keep it down. We're going to go Patrick Nordberg. It's the most, like, crossing difference for our wingbacks. Is a little bit of a defensive. Danny Olmo. Striding forward. Finally, some space. Stromberg. Restricted, ultimately. Satriano heads it over. Just not the striker's day, it feels like. Three XG, but 11 shots off target. And some good chances in there. It's not like... Stromberg. Poor ball. But it is all over. Brescia dominant. Deserved more than one, but only got the one. But at least that did not come back to bite us. Good win. Need to finish some of those chances off. Particularly looking at Stromberg and Satriano there. And maybe not the most inspiring performance after losing a striker to then have your guys missing multiple opportunities to score. Frosinone dominate over Udinese. Roma beat Torino. Draw for SPL and Venezia, which do give them a point to push them up a little bit. Hellas Verona win and Fiorentina win. Atalanta draws with Bologna. Schifo? Hey! 30K. Also, squad balance wise, do I have anybody that's like close? Beraldi? Yeah, not really though. Really has nothing going for him except for like dual-footedness and consistency. Not really even worth it. Rather would just play Olmo and have guys get tired. Olmo or Cueva or Valeda. Ooh, and Inter beat Milan in the derby. And that's some good news. And then we'll look at that ahead of Celtic next week. Yeah, and Juventus beat Lazio. And Inter beat Milan. Cesario gets his first goal. And Azzaloni played a key role. Doesn't enjoy big matches, but I think that's fine if the intent is to be a backup. I don't mind that one as much as like the inconsistency. Now, if it's like Red doesn't like big matches, I think that's not a great sign. Oh, I didn't rest, did I? Got distracted like doing this other thing. I don't know if that's gonna matter much anyway. So, yeah, it's fine because we wanted to do the recovery anyway. Barcelo in the team of the week though. Tight games, only 2 days back to back. Oh, and I didn't get a match review in here. I like wanted to do very specific things there and like completely avoided like these 2 days of. Should have definitely added things. Where is it? Training. We will do a match review. We will do, I don't know, we'll do like a defending from the front, but with like an attacking. Whoa. Romanian goalkeeper out of nowhere. Oh, but he is known, at least a little bit, to be probably pretty good. Seems like he would cost a bit of a fortune. I actually think I remember that guy now that I'm re-seeing that number. Oh. That guy looks really good. Scouting started. Juventus. They did get a sending off, but Mapondo put them up before that, and they hold on. SPAL next. I think we'll move Barclay in. I think Barcelo is fine to kind of stay doing it. Then I think we'll put Pekovic in the middle here. I'm kind of surprised like how good those guys are doing. So Restus is fresh. Galbraith. And we'll be a little bit more reactionary against SPAL. Let's see. I'd like to maybe make Udinese. I mean, they were a Champions League team last time, so I do want this to be a fairly strong squad if I can have it. I think we'll go back to Valletta here. Back to Olmo, and we'll still just trust the two guys, Satriano and Stromberg, as much as we can. Team have hit a purple patch in front of goal. Goals win games, so it's very pleasing for us right now. I don't know. I don't pay too much attention to the schedule, really. I mean, it's a good time to play them because their heads might have dropped. So let's take advantage. Udinese slipping after they were in the Champions League. Maybe they're not quite sure how to handle some of that rotation as they try to figure that out. They also have a pretty tough matchup against Real Madrid, and I forget who else is in their group, but they have a couple of good teams, really good teams sitting in front of them, I believe. I'm not saying impossible to get out of their group, but they're going to have to maybe surprise a couple. I did forget, because I'm the best, to do my opposition instructions. So we'll press those guys. And then Woo Young Jung can kind of do either. We'll just let him go. And then Milico looks like he'll cut in. So mostly just get out there if they get some other guys advancing in the attack. Make sure to press them and don't let them get a nice cross off. Olmo with a fantastic run forward. Valletta. Olmo chips it, and his first goal in a Brescia uniform is a brilliant one. 19 seconds in, 18, 19 seconds in, something like that, to this Udinese match. Away. Olmo has not had too many good games. Has gotten his chances, but also good to see Valletta flipping it forward from that deep-lying playmaker role. Valeda with a big clearance. And that's one thing about Brescia, too. With these guys starting in the middle, there maybe were more offensive players. Do they still have that good defensive structure? I mean, they have really, really good center backs. But is that enough? Barclay with a mistake there. It's little things like that, though, that we are concerned about. Mistakes. Valeda. And smartly plays that out to Barcelo, who's in space. Valeda looking to cross it all the way to Barclay and puts a good one in. Stromberg rushes forward and a brilliant movement in front of 2 defenders. And within 5.5 minutes, Brescia are up 2. And it is Valeda again, spraying it from the deep-lying playmaker role, flipping that play, and then Barcelo, who I do think has a chance to be our starting right wing back, really take that role, but I don't think he's quite there yet over Birkenbaum. Holds it up, and he looks low. Labrovic able to get there in front this time, though. Where's this Valeda? Stromberg brings it down. Olmo. And he flips it to Barcelo, who's in space, who touches it forward. Looking for the cut back. Satriano heads it. Labrovic able to save. Played into space. Jiang. Looking forward. Plays it back to Barrios, who cuts inside. Carnesecchi does just enough. A nice attack there from Udinese. You can see where they're dangerous. Elsewhere, Jacopo Sapozzoti puts Inter up. Benevento are up early from De Serio. And then Cagliari looking to stun Milan. And Sassuolo, who have been a little shaky, I think, to start this season, up on Hellas Verona. A lot of games going on in this window. Ball forward to Stromberg. Valeda chips it. Satriano, a little bit further out in front, and maybe he could look to bring it in with his foot instead. And for Zone, draw it level. Sassuolo double their lead with a penalty. Restis looking for Satriano. But was he offside? Looked like he was doing a little positional fighting there. And Stromberg's hurt. Uh-oh. Just onside. And it is 3 for Brescia in the first half. Hold on. What does it say? Injured, but feels he can shake it off. We'll see how he's feeling at half. Oh, he did not really bounce back at all. I don't think we can send Stromberg out for the second half. Um, which brings up the interesting question of who. I almost think it's just gotta be Valeda, even though he's not. It's not like almost supremely athletic either. And we'll get Oscar Cueva out there. Couple changes for Udinese, a change for Brescia as well. Stroking it through. Now we try the long ball to Barcelo, who's looking forward to Valeda, who blasts it. It bounces around. And Valeda is saying, put me up front. Let me lead the line. His second goal. Absolutely nuts. Just flipped over from Barcelo and blasted. Oh, and another very, very tight call there. And more like it from Brescia. Tessie. Milico plays Gutierrez in. A good first touch and a very, very nice finish. I do think he was on. It's just perfectly played through. I don't want to see how tight it was. Ah, Barcelo dropped. I think the other thing I want to do, I'm going to throw Galbraith in the middle. And we're going to bring Cesarano out. Is Udinese starting to, like, come back? This one disallowed. This time, Barcelo steps forward. Actually, this probably would have been a good game in hindsight to have gotten a few reps at left wing back for, what's his name? Okay, they are trying every through ball in the book. I don't want to go too crazy on it yet, but boys, we're like letting them come back here. They're not going to like that because we're up, but going to demand a little more. Tough day for our midfield. Madu and Kyiv. It's a rare, not great day from Madu, although he does also not get the benefit of being on, like, every corner. So, maybe we're going to see a little bit more of those. That is kind of expected. Yeah, we've just kind of, like, our offense is completely stopped. St. Maximin. And Gutierrez. Okay. Malassi is hurt now too. Jesus Christ. We'll cut out by Galbraith. Cesarano. A little wild there. Valeta back. Kyiv. Olmo. Madu. Valeta runs into space. Well-timed run. Can he open himself up? Labrovich saves it. Hellas Verona trying to get back into it late. Cesarano. Giving the kid a chance to make an impact. Still up by 2 goals. We didn't generate a ton in this game. Just better finishing after a game where we had some tough finishing. So it's a little back and forth there. And also Malacia not staying healthy. Kyiv, Olmo. Back to Malacia, who's in space. Steps forward. Falls to Olmo. Need a little hustle out of Barclay there. But it got scary there. And kind of a poor second half. We did eventually retake over. But, there at the end. But they definitely started gaining some momentum. And we didn't do a lot for a long time, and every chance they had, they were generating a pretty good chunk. So, but ultimately, we do enough to hold on. So good job. Yeah, we never lack belief. It's the first step. Morale seems really high. We just need to continue to build on the good times. You know, we're looking ahead game by game, but you know, we continue. I think confidence is a good thing right now. Pulled hamstring for Malacia, Cesarano, and Cagliari do pull off the upset in Milan. Might be the lowest I've seen them in the board. Inter beat Napoli. And we have SPAL next. Olmo also set the record for the quickest Brescia goal. 15 seconds into the match. The previous one was 18 seconds back in 1967. So a little bit of history there. Yeah, you can see they took that momentum. We did well, I think, to get it back there at the end. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything too incredibly strong, and he is starting to, and doesn't have that elite natural fitness that's going to keep him going. So I think we're okay. Fullback, yeah, with not a lot going on. In the final few games of match week 5, Sampdoria beat Bologna and Lazio get the job done over Atalanta. And Atalanta off to probably their roughest start that I've seen in recent memory. 16th for them. But Juventus is flying high, or at least they're flying the highest. 5 wins in their 5 games. The only team... Not the only team yet to lose, but... Squad. Training. I'll rest the starters a day, but I think we'll still have to be making some very... We'll definitely still have to be making some changes, I think. And I do think I'm okay with overall outfield here, but just in case I don't get here while I'm thinking about it. I'm going to put an attacking corners ahead of our goal. Fine. Fine. Probably not something we would do, but fine. And it does seem like Stromberg did shake off that injury, and he is generally okay. I don't know. It's definitely opened the door for Stromberg if he wants a. If he wants to be the guy over Maximiliano Cabrera. He does have some better attributes. Yeah, I think we'll do that instead. And we will see Adebayo in this game. Nothing against Karnaseki in the last one, but a chance to spell him. Potentially. And we haven't gotten to see too much of Adebayo, so giving him some opportunities. Unambitious. Udinese explode. I mean, I guess it is against Venice. The big matchup today, which will be later after our game, Juventus versus Inter. So we will see Adebayo for the first time. Malacia injured. It's a good question. Begovic is generally a little bit more flexible, but just in case, let me see. Penfolds has no jumping reach at all. So he's got some jumping reach. Okay. There's a couple scary guys. So what I'm thinking is Abdullah in this game then. And we'll go Cesarano. And Florent Denis beside Abdullaev. Birkenbaum's fresh, so we'll get him out there. I think it's also a good time for Patrick Nordberg to get some reps at the left wing. And then Peter Raska. And we'll keep Jan Valeda. Satriano, Stromberg, and Danny Olmo. So, substitution-wise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, technically, but yeah, so. We're in much better form. We should be focused on playing our game. We just need to keep it going. Yeah, we're going in with the positive mindset. So SPAL, they get promoted. We are making some significant substitutions. 5 quote-unquote backups. And that's in front of the backup goalkeeper, Adebayo. We haven't seen too much rest for Marco Karnaseki over the past couple of seasons, but Adebayo is back after a tough loan spell. Can he impress? Milan. Pretty upset to their start. Get one early. And then they get another one. Brahim Diaz, a penalty in the 4th minute in Torino, who did have a pretty good finish last year. Not quite sure where they ended up, but they've already given up 3 goals in 7 minutes. That's good. Birkenbaum. Cesarano. Valeda flips it out to Birkenbaum. Allows Brescia to push up a little bit. Cesarano now. Raska plays Stromberg through. And it will be a corner. Stromberg, I think, maybe had a little bit of time to bring that one down. Yeah, that is a good question with some major changes. 14, 16, 17, but only 10, 16, but 11. So I think we're going to switch that to Abdulev being the main guy. No offense to Cesarano, I just don't think that's not his game, really. Denis with a nice clearance. Adebayo scrambles, but makes a good save. Karnaseki getting to watch one from the bench for the first time in a while. As Brescia spring Stromberg. And he looks back to Danny Olmo. Goes a little wide, and he's brought down. Drawing the foul in the box. I'll give a little bit of praise. Danny Olmo has been playing. Now that he's like understanding his role a little bit more, he's maybe playing a little bit better. And a pure miss from Martin Satriano. It has been a while since we've seen that. Tuba brings down Birkenbaum. And we'll get a yellow for his troubles. Raska will take one quick. The far post. Satriano. Did he make up for his penalty if he stayed onside? But he did not. Oh, so close. Raska. Olmo. Back to Abdulev. Out to Valeda. Raska has himself a go from range. And he'll draw. And Olmo was offside, and so he leaves it. Goal kick. And Brescia have been the better team, but they have not gotten a reward for being the better team. Birkenbaum striding forward. Cuts it back. Finds Peter Raska, who looks for Jan Valeda, who puts a good shot on. Villar puts it wide. Little bit of intrigue potentially coming. Torino have scored twice, but Milan, I think, have also scored twice. So 5-2. Denny Olmo, Cesarano, Denis, Valeda. Who's looking for Olmo, can't get there. Birkenbaum will pick up the loose ball, and Brescia kind of restructure a little bit. With Birkenbaum pushing wide. He'll cut in. Stromberg will take the far header. VR pulls it down. Raimondo heads it forward. Adebayo. Valeda. Stromberg, but it's going to take him wide. Nordberg. Olmo. Oh. Blocked. Hopefully the boys will get a little bit more motivated there. Be a little bit harsh. I think we did generate. You know, we drew the penalty, obviously, but yeah, we had a couple of chances. Didn't reap our rewards. Now we have to be better. He'll go around. Raska. Satriano. Raska. Raska finds it again. Birkenbaum. He's going to flip it. Nordberg heads it towards goal. It gets blocked and cleared. Olmo. He flips it to Birkenbaum, who's got to get it in. Satriano tumbling. Raska, Birkenbaum bouncing around, and finally a clearance. Oh, just over the heads. Stromberg, well taken. Was he on? I can't have another goal disallowed. I can't. Let's go. A beautiful ball from Raska. Gets rewarded. Just over Armini's head. Midfielder substitution? Oh, and Torino now has a man sent off. Denis and Valeda back and forth. Racking up those possession numbers, you know. Olmo. And he's going to find Stromberg, who makes a good run again. And it seems to be Vegard Stromberg running riot suddenly here. Satriano off the corner. Olmo. Dangerous spot, but blasted into the wall. Nordberg. Olmo. Oh my goodness. How did none of that go in? And Raska picked up a knock. Alright, well, Nordberg still looks pretty rested, so we'll bring him in. And go to Barcelo. And we'll kind of hold off on if we need a Madu or not. Olmo again, this time. A tough save. Stromberg couldn't quite put it home either on the rebound. Satriano steals it. I don't even know if Stromberg's kept himself onside. Yeah, Olmo definitely. Firmino. And Satriano scores, and I think that will be his last action of the day. Is taking himself off. To some applause. Nordberg. Just over. Few direct key, but the team definitely got motivated there in the second half. We almost feel like we could have deserved more. But the defensive structure. Bring everybody back a little less forward. You can't play around with it, Abdulev. But he does get back somehow. find space. Jan Valeda. Birkenbaum. Stromberg. And I'll just head it towards VR. And the added time flying by. Well blocked by Denis. Birkenbaum with a big clearance to Valeda. Mino did look to play Stromberg, but not quite. Some risky moments at times, but we got the job done, and a good second half reaction from maybe being a little flat in the first. That result takes Brescia to the top of the league, although Juventus have a game in hand. Gives us a platform to build on. We're keeping the tight pace. Milan obviously got the job done. Udinese obviously maybe back on track after a tough start. And we will stay top as Inter. Well, barring Fiorentina like absolutely blowing out a team, I guess we will stay top. Inter beat Juventus. Mapando did score, but Neto and Raspadori, a late one from Raspadori. Exciting, tight game there. That's what we want to see. Fiorentina, they have Frosinone, so I would expect them to do pretty well. Roma against Cagliari. Not interested. Maybe. I have him on do I have him on the not interested list? So we'll do that, and then we'll do probably rest our starters today. Fiorentina continued to get the job done, but they did not absolutely blow out Frosinone. So we do stay at the top at the end of match week 1, but really on goal differential. Roma do enough to top Cagliari. Team bonding, defending, attacking. So we have Celtic next, and then Fiorentina at home. So that's actually a huge match with both teams unbeaten up to this point. Dario Reina with a player of the match performance, and Jenner with his first goal. And that started a goal explosion for him in his last one. Sure. Yeah, and as of late, Olmo has been pretty impressive. Form's been good recently. But that's the kind of things that we could do, you know, bringing in some of these elite talents like a Danny Olmo. And on a free, too. Very nice to have. Milano, like, gotta re-sign Bruno Fernandes. Isn't he, like, 36? I mean, maybe he's gonna cost them, like, nothing, essentially, but still odd. Thought about those guys on a free, bringing them in on trial, but Did I tell my starters to rest? I don't think I did. 2 sendings off for Atalanta. Sassuolo get a late one after it was all said and done. I guess the penalty in that last sending off. Hellas Verona win. A draw for Sampdoria Benevento, and a draw for Napoli Lazio. And I don't think I did, which I messed up because I wanted them to take this day off. Yeah, I'm worried about him. 16 jumping reach coming in there. Nordberg and Denis in your team of the week in Serie A. What? I mean, I guess, I don't know. I guess I could be interested, but Elsewhere in the Champions League, Arsenal beat Benfica, draw for Rangers Genk, Man United beat Ajax, Lyon beat Gladbach, Milan draw with Liverpool, which will tighten up that group a little bit, giving a chance to maybe somebody, and particularly young boys who just whooped up on Spartak Moscow and Real Madrid. It's Munich is the other one for Udinese, and they lost to Monaco, but a big win for Madrid. Lots of crossing and accurate. Florentini mixed temperament has improved, remains calmer, but is a little less supporting on the pitch. Cesarano is more focused, professional, more focused on his game, less likely to bring controversy, but he is gonna a little less sporting and let his temper get the better of him a little bit. Okay. Azzolini. I mean, he pretty much just has to show up, I think, but he's generally playing okay. And then Dario Reina gets the Serie B, so a couple of our young center backs. And then we have somebody Bartoli in Serie C. So group of Brescia guys all throughout there. Okay, so there is international duty like after the Fiorentina game. So that's kind of what I was interested in. So I'd like to get through Fiorentina tonight, and so that way I can potentially simulate that before we get started next time. Petros. We get a new sponsorship deal, a little bit more cash. Malacia fails his fitness test. In the early games, big output, but Olympiacos beat out Chelsea, and PSG beat RB Salzburg. So it will go right back to Carnesecchi. Pekovic is fresh and ready to go. How's Galbraith feeling? Galbraith is low. His Orestes fresh. So we'll go Orestes. Maybe give Galbraith. Well, you know what? They kind of have some interesting tall players. We're gonna push Galbraith here, I think. A little bit. Back to Barclay. Back to Barcelo. Back to Madu. Oscar Cueva. Danny Olmo. Satriano Stromberg. So Orestes, the backup. Then Birkenbaum Nordberg. Raska. Valeta. And then I guess we'll just go Mino. Another offensive option. Yeah, so we won't tackle hard. The foot should cut inside. Should generally cut inside, but can do both. But I think we'll be okay with that, and we'll just press their width when they try to add some extra men in the attack. Both teams carry some good recent form. Looking forward to it. We have the quality to show and believe that we're the better team. Hopeful for a performance. If we play to the levels I know we're capable of, we'll be fine. Having won your opening match, yeah, we definitely be in a fantastic spot, and that's what we want to do. We want to keep winning games here. We are the defending champs. It would be pretty embarrassing to get one of the easiest groups and not even get out of it. I mean, it's almost, if we don't win it, I'm kind of like maybe a little upset. We want any advantage we can get. Olmo, Barclay. As he looks to add width to the attack. Pulls it back. Danilo Pekovic looking to whip something in. Can't get there. Penfold. Well done there. And Galbraith picks up the loose ball and holds off Celtic. Nice .01 XG shot for Brescia. Got a foot to it, but was a little far, just beyond the post. Stromberg couldn't wrap it inside. Marcelo. Marcelo doing some funky things. Galbraith looks to chip in Olmo and does so pretty successfully. Not a great shot. Dortmund, an early goal on the other side of the group. Cueva forward, Satriano, and he blasts it well over the top. Not having that rotation option. I mean, I think the good news is some international break here to maybe give a little bit of relief. Satriano somehow doesn't finish that off. A brilliant opportunity there. And a dominant start for Brescia. Through the first 20 or so. Barclay. Looks to chip it. Galbraith striding forward. Cueva. Satriano, this time he finishes it off. Beautiful movement. Andy Galbraith right there, boys. Absolutely a brilliant effort on his part. I'm glad we get to watch it again. To win that, and then look at that run forward. And then he drops a good ball off to Cueva, who then one times into Satriano. Woo. Woo. A nasty goal there. Maybe one of the best I've seen our squad score. Stromberg. Cueva striding forward. Satriano there too. Not a great pass in his direction though. Barclay. Picks up the clearance though. Looks to set up his man. He will get one through, but Eric jumps out. Elsewhere, Man City find themselves down, which is pretty rare, and Juventus find themselves up, which is less rare. Olmo. Oh, good turn. Stromberg, Satriano, Barcelo adding the width. Cuts it back. Strong from Stromberg, but even stronger by the goalkeeper. And Brescia have already flashed a couple of times. And Satriano wins that header. Yeah, it could have maybe already had been multiple goals for Brescia. Pekovic. And Erling Haaland draws the Man City game level. Pekovic. Done enough. Every corner is threatening. Somehow Satriano, they just didn't get enough. Couldn't get enough power behind it. Barcelo. Oh, and he plays a long one up to Stromberg. Cueva. In the middle to Olmo, flips it wide to Barcelo. Out. Barclay. Cuts it back. Anthony Madu. Oh, I think he was looking to just wrap his foot around it. Brescia maybe deserved more, but absolutely dominant. Back to Madu. Out to Abdulev, who takes a shot. And a dangerous one at that. Fantastic touch from Olmo. Stromberg holds it up and back to Galbraith. Into Satriano. Back to Barclay, who looks to find Satriano. Oh, I think another touch there, and maybe you open up some options for passing. Pekovic. And we get rewarded. Been waiting for some of that. Just to give us a little bit of a buffer. And we do it. And oh no. That was almost amazing. And Juventus now level. Satriano hits it just over. But Juventus answer. Karnaseki with a big save. he like frustrated or what's going on? He's calm now. It must be a little bit of complacency sinking in. We are going to bring out Jan Valeda, I think, just because that's not really working. And we will go Stefan Birkenbaum to replace Barclay. And a yellow for Marcus Paulo. And Brescia make a couple of substitutions. You don't really want to put my foot off another goal and I'll like go completely off. Dulev, he takes a go. Kiergaard. Neto. Is that Vitor Neto? Turnbull. Looks to fire, can't get it. It is! Vitor Neto was once on loan with us. Didn't really have much of a season. Didn't really have a good season. He's been kind of a slow developer, I feel like. But has now moved a couple of times in the last few years to Marseille and now here to Scotland for Celtic. Very interesting. Penfold. Did he time his run right? If he did, it's a goal. I guess he did because they're not even appealing. Wow. He just blasted that one home. Just a perfectly timed run on the counter, and Birkenbaum misses in the air. Satriano looking for Valeda. Should have been another goal. Birkenbaum. Oh. Ah. I know there's not much time left, but I'm thinking Peter Raska, and this is an interesting thing, but I think just maybe a little bit more defensive, a little bit more of that, just like, what's the word? That like team commitment falls to Anderson, and it could have been the equalizer for Celtic. Kind of run it. That was just poor. I'm gonna pull back to like a standard line. It's my only change. And this should end it. A little chaotic. But we do enough to hold on. And it will be 6 points from 2 games. And we will have a big matchup against Dortmund. Elsewhere, PSG get it done. Juventus get it done. Dortmund hold on. I guess we knew that. Draw for Barcelona. Man City win, and Hoffenheim ends up drawing with Feyenoord. Sandro Martinez wants to stay. A dominant game that, we honestly could have, we deserved more, but the difference was Danilo Pekovic. We needed that second goal. I wanted a third. At the end, the momentum started to shift. And Abdulev, we believe we got ourselves a world-class center back on our hands, and I'd be inclined to agree. Man, he just been working on that weak foot the whole time, though. I think honestly, actually, with that weak foot, I haven't. He just doesn't have that like crossing or anything that really makes it intriguing to be like a wide center back. Like he can do it, but you're not necessarily getting anything out of it, right? But I was thinking about it. Because I kind of like the idea of the big guy. Big, passive defender, but we'll just head everything out of the way. In the middle. Dulev, generally the better attacker. And I mean, maybe that's enough of a reason right there. Just whatever he does have the better attacking. Pekovic, obviously better in the air, better general vision. Abdulev, though, is the better mentally, defensively, physically, and raw speed. It's making me think. One thing that I think, I mean, I'm also scouting so much like garbage. I really should take my time through there and just be like, don't even like bother scouting this guy type thing. But I think they should, like, if it's like a new suggestion, put that stuff up front. You know what I mean? Ah, shoot. Did it again, or if nearly done it again. Villalpando asked to be removed from the transfer list. Our big list of players. Yeah, never reaching his glory day. Never reaching the glory days that he was having at Brescia, though. Pressure building as Arnaud wants to force a move. I mean, I would love Jean Arnaud. His mental game is just absolutely ridiculous. And then, like, loves big matches, super consistent, has all the potential in the world. Has that like technique, the work rate, the natural fitness. I mean, I can't really. But I don't know. We could continue yeah, I mean, I'd love him. We obviously, like, can't afford him right now, but if we can, like, I don't know, if we have a lot of success this year, and he's the type of move, or, honestly, if we can, you know, maybe work something with, like, a sale. And we will see Rafik Nordbo, who moved on from us to go to Fiorentina. He is playing very, very well for Fiorentina. I mean, it's a good move on their part. I mean, it was also a good little bit of business. We move on from him, even though he's got fantastic mental stats. I love everything about him except for this jumping reach. I already kind of consider the 14 on Abdulev to be detrimental a little bit. Like, as good as Abdulev is, yeah, we're just going to let those guys sit over the break, I think. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the only way I see us getting, like, Arnaud is, like, selling Stromberg, probably, like, getting rid of Valeda, whether that's, like, a sale now or something else, you know what I mean? Then we could, I think, theoretically. So there's an option, right, to get there, but it is big sales in January. And I mean, we are kind of running out of time a little bit in some ways. Juventus get the job done and retake the top spot, putting the pressure on us. Milan win, and Sampdoria beat Sassuolo. If we want to maintain the top, we have to win here. Controversial interviews around Arnaud. I mean, I could try to, like, aggressively go after those moves in January. Stromberg out. Jenner back in. Arno. Or Valletta back out. Well, actually, the thing about Valletta back out, actually, I probably can't do that. Too. Because he did actually play games for PSG. So, I don't know, maybe if I specifically sell to PSG. But I think there's like a limit to competition. So I don't know if the game would recognize that like ahead of time or not. Oh, and then something I didn't do. Oh, this probably isn't good. Cabrera and Malacia are not ready to come back. Not that I think I would do that anyway. Atalanta beat Inter, so they fall off the pace a little bit. Roma beat Udinese. Frosinone and Venice draw. Hellas Verona, Lazio draw. And Bologna beat Benevento. But back on track for Atalanta. So we'll get Orestes in. I think we'll try Pekovic and Abdulev just before, since it's just ahead of the break. Barcelo, Birkenbaum. Get Mino a start. We'll get Valletta out there. Yeah. I think that's fine. Oppositionally, oh, they also have Lambert starting, the young star, future star goalkeeper. Interesting. And Nordbo does start. So he should cut in, and then these guys will just be adding extra. And this is a tough formation. They got like everybody back. Yeah. They're among the best teams to play. There are no illusions how hard they're going to make life for us. You know, it's definitely something. Yeah, it's a happy squad is a winning squad. How concerned are you about suffering a defeat? I don't think one loss is gonna. It's just squad rotation. We trust Orestes fully. But we do have to be strong defensively because it looks like they are going to be strong defensively. This could be a very frustrating game, but hopefully we can take our chances when we generate them. They also picked up the Welshman Buchel, too. Interesting. Fiorentina making some, like, moves for at least some, like, interesting players that were, like, on my radar. Different circumstances could have maybe brought them to Brescia. Bokila. Orestes heads it away. Simone. Bokila looking for space again. Simone. And offside. Yeah, when they're really getting into it there. Barcelo cuts it out, and Stromberg looking to go. Brescia always pressing forward. Resta steps in, drops it short to Valeda. Goes now wide to Barcelo. He's looking to press forward. Back to Madu, who flips it to the other wingback, Birkenbaum. Back to Danilo Pekovic, who finds Barcelo on the backside. And absolutely brilliant from Brescia. You don't see the wingback score too many, but from... And it's not even one wingback to another. It's Danilo Pekovic stepping up. And Barcelo just catches it clean enough. A long period of nothing in this game. Back to Rafik Nordbo. Stromberg gonna take it from him. And he's gonna have a go from range. The young keeper Lambert. Dives across. Scrambles it free. He's probably had to study some of these corners. Brescia one of the best, and he makes another tough save there. Danilo Pekovic has his assist, looking for a goal now. Yeah, trying to get everybody up a little bit. We been a tough match. Like we said, we got our reward, but we need another one. Showed too much of that. And another very long period of the game. Not a lot of action. And a miss from Abdulev. A chance. But chipped wide. Oh. Matu looked to crank another one in. We go Peter Raska. Again, just trying to be very defensive conscious. Sub a guy who's maybe kind of having a tough game. And a huge save from Karnaseki. So we will have a tired Anthony Madu. And we will have strikers that haven't done much today, but I think that's what we're gonna have to do. Tired defensive line, everything. It's just been a lot of back and forth. Shell. Gonzalez. Luke Birkenbaum with a nice block. We are not holding possession very well. Just kind of getting beat up in the midfield a little bit, I guess. Olmo flips it out to Stromberg. Barcelo. Back to Galbraith. Anthony Madu. From range. Oh, we'll flip it to Birkenbaum, who looks for Satriano. And a corner opportunity. Not much time remaining. A goal here could seal things for Brescia. They have been so dangerous on corners all season long. Satriano. Lambert. Able to get out there. Tough day for Madu, though. Needed the substitution, but we hold on. We do enough. We did not dominate the game by any means. Generated some decent chances there, but also stopped some massive chances. But we got the result. Not at our best. Not at the top. Something we got to work on as we go into despite only having 37%. We were confident that we could defend and keep them out. I think our performance was complete. What a goal by Curza. Absolutely brilliant. A great goal. We've scored some absolute phenomenal goals. Juventus do have the goal differential lead a little bit. We do enough, though. So, we will wrap it up here. Another successful season for Brescia. As we have climbed now to the top of Serie A, just ahead of the second international break. We have also played 2 games and have won twice in our Champions League group. Our biggest test is next against Dortmund. I will be simulating through what am I looking for? Yeah, this. I'll be simulating through the international break to save ourselves a little bit of time ahead of the stream on Saturday. We have back-to-back, well, for Zone A in the middle, but back-to-back games against Dortmund with a couple of, at least this time it's a little mix of some like lesser Serie A teams, so maybe some heavier rotation could be possible, but we will see how it goes. We'll be working towards that next time. We've definitely, the tough one against Lazio, but we've won everything since and have looked pretty good doing it for the most part. Not super clinical. I do think our finishing has been a little up and down, not as consistent as we would like, but overall a pretty decent set of performances. So hopefully we can continue to do that again moving forward. The next stream will be on Saturday. I'm still working on catching YouTube up. And then our last stream before I go on a little vacation should be the following Monday. And I might do an odd Tuesday stream after I get back, potentially. I'll be flying all day Wednesday. But so keep posted, sign in on follow on Twitter and everything to keep posted on that content. I appreciate anybody who stopped in watching the video. Thank you. And I hope you have a brilliant rest of your day. Peace.